What is up, everybody? So I haven't been doing that many videos lately because of college, and now that college is over, I'm going to be trying to get more jobs and stuff like that, so that's what I'm going to be doing the next couple of weeks. But I just got done seeing the Purge Anarchy, and when I was watching that movie, honestly, I really did want to hate the movie at first. I really didn't understand why people would think that this movie was a good idea. It seems kind of silly that the idea of an annual holiday for pretty much crime to be committed is something I don't really see happening in the far future, but this movie, when I started watching it, it did kind of pique my interest a little bit because a couple of things. Some of the actors, even though they're a bunch of no-names, did a really good job acting in this movie. I feel like The Purge is kind of wrong in that committing acts of murder and violence on just a annual basis on just one holiday is kind of a stupid idea, because if you think about it, people are committing acts of murder pretty much year round, and who's to say that just because the purge ends that people wouldn't still keep doing it after it's pretty much been over. Now, the movie kind of revolves around these two girls. They kind of get left after their father kind of pretty much just ditches them, and they're pretty much stuck on their own. Now the purge eventually kind of converges on their house, and they're pretty much trying to fight for their survival. And at the same time, this couple is kind of trying to make it out into their home. They get stuck along the way trying to make it home, and they later find out that a group of gang members have kind of snipped their, like, the wires in their car, which causes it to kind of stall. And this one lone kind of mercenary type character is out there. He's trying to kind of avenge his family for something that happened in the past. I will not explain what it is, because if people are going to go to see this movie, I don't want to spoil the plot of this movie for them. But he goes after the people that kind of took out his family. He's kind of driving out one night, and he stumbles upon this group of characters that are pretty much being held hostage, and he saves them. And he kind of learns later on that his own car is also malfunctioning, and his entire mission is to avenge his family. So he kind of uses the group as a way to get a car so that he can pretty much purge that night. This movie was pretty much awesome. I loved the movie. I loved the premise. I did not see the first one, as I've stated before, so I had no idea pretty much what was going on. I'd seen bits and pieces of the first movie, the one with, what's his name? Can't think of it off the hat, but you get the point. You can look at it pretty much online, and you'll be able to see some of the actors in the original movie. But anyway, I felt like this movie had a pretty decent plot, even though most of the actors are pretty much no names. I felt like the story was pretty good, and that the writing was actually well done, even though there's some pretty cheesy moments in this movie. Yeah, it's a really fun ride, and I definitely think that this movie is something that you should check out, especially if you're, like, it wasn't really that scary. It was meant to be, they advertised it like it was a horror movie, and it was more or less an action movie where people are trying to survive, and it's one day out of the year that people are trying to survive and kind of survive this really horror event. And not everybody agrees with this event, as you can see in the movie, but there are definitely people that kind of fight back and kind of take control and try to survive, and it is definitely a really good thriller type of movie. So would I recommend going to see this movie? Heck yeah. If you're kind of into the action adventure type of stuff, or if you're a fan of horror, even though this isn't really related to horror, there's really only a couple moments where they introduce some jump scares and stuff, and that's pretty much added to kind of create tension in the movie. And honestly, I don't really like jump scares. I feel like jump scares are a cheat and a way to get the audience to jump, even though it is effective at times. Like, you're kind of waiting for something to happen, and it does, and that scares the crap out of you. And I think directors kind of know that, and that's kind of why they use that tactic. But it is definitely a cheat, and it's something that I wish people would not use often, because I feel like it kind of ruins the horror factor of the movie. Michael Bay actually produced this movie, and when Michael Bay is not directing Transformers, he does a really good job directing these kind of horror / action adventure movies. And this movie is actually pretty well made, so it gives me a little bit of hope for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I've heard some backlash against that movie, but I will really withhold my judgment until I see the final film of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and heck, maybe even I'll do a video on it if I have the time. But anyway, I really did enjoy this movie. You should definitely check this out even if you're not a fan of the first movie. You don't really need to see the first movie to be able to watch this movie. So definitely check it out if you've got the time. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next video. Peace.